Hello and welcome to another episode of Whistle to Win podcast. I am your girl, your host, Lady Ray J. And today I'm going to do something a little different here to share with you my next guest and their information. So, y'all be patient. I'm trying something for the first time. Here we go. See if I can share my screen. If I can find it, let's see if this is the screen that I'm trying to share. I don't see it. I don't see it. Let's see, screen. That's not it. Here it is. Here she is. So I'm sharing my screen, you guys. All right, here we go. Take a listen to this. Oh, what happened? Oh, we can't share. Oh, I don't think we can share. We're going to try it again.
Hi, did you know that over 35 million Americans have type 2 diabetes that can lead to cardiovascular and kidney disease? And it doesn't have to be that way. Unfortunately, I've been there. I reversed fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, mixed connective tissue disorders, and fluctuating blood sugar levels. And I let go of over 70 pounds. I got my life back, and so can you. I am Phyllis M, pharmacist for over 30 years, founder and CEO of Discover Ultimate Health LLC. I'm your ultimate transformational health specialist. The time is now for you to discover your ultimate health. Contact me today at the number below.
All right, you guys. I'm so glad that the screen share worked. Look, this is almost like live. So you get what I give you, right? But let me introduce to some and present to others. And she said it best. Phyllis M. Weaver. Yay! Welcome to the Wisdom to Win podcast. How are you? Unmute yourself so we can hear your lovely voice.
Hi, I am so fabulous and I am so honored to be a guest on your podcast. I'm so excited. I don't know what to do, about to bounce out my chair.
Well, your topic is so interesting to me because that's kind of what this podcast is based on. Talking with women of a certain age, those that have gone through divorce, because you know how so many women, divorced women, will find themselves at a crossroads trying to navigate life's new chapters. And they become very unsure of their confidence and their purpose in life. Well, this podcast was developed to help those women that have maybe some of those things they're going through. And health concerns is one of those as well. And trying to navigate that along with going through divorce perhaps at the same time, because that was my story. You all will hear my story later. But knowing that you have this practice in your background and dealing with some of the very top illnesses that we deal with, diabetes, lupus, and other autoimmune issues that come up that affect us in so many different ways. So let me ask you this. How did you decide to do this? What was this part of your story or someone else's, and you decided that this was something you wanted to do as a service, leading rather with a servant-centered heart? So tell us your story, Phyllis.
Yeah, this is my story, and thank you for this. I went through a challenging marriage and a divorce, and so during all of that time, I developed chronic stress, which, stress will definitely cause health conditions. And over time, I developed all of these different autoimmune issues. But overall, I felt pretty healthy, except for gaining weight. I gained so much weight during that time.
Mm.
And, whenever you have so much weight, that also adds to other health conditions that you may get. But I started all of this because I guess, go back and then fast forward from when I divorced in 2013. I actually was kind of feeling good, except I did have, some weight that I was working on getting rid of. But I, out of the blue, just started feeling really bad. And I couldn't figure out what was happening to me. And I was diagnosed in 2013 with all of those ailments that you saw on the video. And that was my story. I started getting worse and worse and worse and ended up having about 8 specialists. I was on
Yeah.
22, taking over 22 tablets a day.
Of
I
different
had got
medication?
all different medication. I was very sick. Eventually, my organ systems started shutting down.
Wow.
So my rheumatologist at the time um, had some grave news for me. And so I just remember that one day I left the doctor's office and I just sat in a parking lot and I I just cried. I cried for 30 minutes.
Wow.
And I just said, this isn't going to be my life. I'm not going to let her telling me that I was most likely going to die.
Oh, wait,
Um,
wait. Don't even say anything else. She actually told you to your face, yeah, well, most likely you're gonna die. Really?
yeah, pretty much. It actually wasn't my rheumatologist. It was her PA who said that to me.
I cannot. What
And
kind of
so,
bedside manner is that? If you weren't, feeling bad, you were by that time feeling at your worst. So I can understand you crying like that. And you were going through marital upheaval at the same time?
yeah, nasty custody battle. I had been told that my custody was like one of those custody battles that you see all the celebrities. It was pretty rough, but
Oh.
yeah.
Any children?
Um, I have two grown adult sons now.
Okay.
So,
So were they raised?
but when I was going through all of that, they were still young.
Okay, so this has been some time ago.
Hmm.
And continue with what steps, where did your mind go? Where was the process at this point? Now you've cried for 30 minutes. You've been told that you don't have long to live. You're going through this nasty battle of divorce, and then on top of that, custody within the divorce of young children. Um, where were you now? You're sitting in this. Where was your mindset going at that point?
At that time, I just knew that I had to do something. So, of course, I started praying. So, prayer has been the one thing that has grounded me and kept me focused on, what it should be.
Mhm.
You don't focus on the negative. So you focus on the positives because in the Bible it says that the Most High wants us to have good health. He wants us to have all of these um, all of these different things. And being sick isn't one of them.
Mhm.
So I I I finally left. I went home and I said, okay, I'm going to do something about it. And
Mhm.
so I started doing research and um, figured out some steps I was going to take. And I took one day at a time. It took about 3 years for me to come up with plans that actually started working. So um, that was the beginning of it. I went to, I ended up losing my job.
Oh
Um,
no.
they were threatening me anyway, trying to force me to go on permanent disability and everything. And I kept telling
Mhm.
them that, I had a mortgage, I have children. I can't just go on total disability. And so eventually I lost my job. So
So let
I
me ask you, when you lost your job, let's clarify that a little bit. Were you fired or did you resign?
I was fired.
But you were ill at the time that you were fired. So were you under the American Disabilities Act at that point?
I I was on
I'm getting
FMLA.
legal. Legal. What's the statute of limitation on the legal here?
I was on FMLA. I was on FMLA.
Oh,
And one week, one week after it ended, almost to the day, um, I was fired. So
should not have been fired because that right there was discriminatory. Okay, if there are any attorneys listening to this, watching this on YouTube, if there are any people on here that have friends or family members that might be an attorney, make sure you get in touch with Phyllis. And let me say this as a disclaimer, there has been an updated phone number. So the number that you saw in the video that begins with 888 has been replaced with a new number. We're going to have that number in the description box. I'm so serious, but not just for the legal part of it, but for every other way imaginable that you think you want to get in touch with Phyllis. Phyllis has a ton of links. She has a new number for you to get in touch with her. So just know that that number, once again, in the business, in the little line that she had as the business, has been upgraded. And it is a new number. And I'm going to recite that number for you now. It is not the 888 number any longer. It is now 919 area code 429-0835. Again, the number to get in touch with Phyllis, and we will have that in the description box, is 919 area code 429-0835. Okay, let's go on with the show.
so yeah, so the great thing about it is I had gotten to the point where I was having issues swallowing my foods, and I was having um heart issues. Just some of everything was happening. And so yes, I came up with this plan, and it started working. The changed in my diet, changed in what I was drinking. I started exercising, even though it was hurting. I made myself exercise. Sometimes it was so hard to get out of the bed. I would just roll myself onto the floor
Oh, wow.
and then crawl up to the doorway to the bathroom and pull myself up. So
Wow.
it was really a challenge.
So you were
But
really incapacitated and paralyzed in pain. What type of pain did you have? And with everything that you had, lupus was one of the main factors. You also had diabetes,
I had my blood sugar would go up and down, but it was mostly low. I had hypoglycemia.
hypoglycemia, low blood sugar versus hyperglycemia, high blood sugar. But
Yes.
either way, up and up high or down low is still dangerous and life threatening.
Yes,
Um,
so I had the fibromyalgia, and that was most
fibromyalgia.
the muscle pains. So I had severe migraines to the point where they would sometimes make me pass out.
Oh
And
my gosh.
so it was a lot going on. It was
What
a lot
age
going
range
on.
were you in? Not trying to give your age, but at the time that this was happening, were you in your 30s, your 40s? What range were you in?
I was in my 40s.
Okay,
I was in my late 40s
in your late
because I
40s.
had already I had already gone through the divorce, but I was still having lots of divorce proceedings, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just long. Everything was kind of long with the situation.
What medical insurance did you have at that time? Because if you had lost your employment, that also took your insurance. So the husband, as I say, were you still on his insurance, his medical insurance to help with
Well,
some of the
to
costs?
be honest, I was never on his insurance.
Oh my
I
gosh.
had my own insurance. I think I might have been on his insurance maybe a couple years out of
Hmm.
out of our marriage,
And that
but
was prior to your illness.
right.
So how did you take care of medical expenses at this point?
I had to end up getting what do you call it? They call it the like kind of like the Obamacare kind of thing.
Okay.
So that was what I was using.
So you went through the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
word. I could
so,
not think of that for
well,
the life of me.
President Obama said, "My name is Obama, and I do care." So
That's
through the Affordable Care Act, you were able to find coverage for yourself for these expenses that did not cost you out of pocket, or
or
was there some cost out of pocket?
there was still costs out of pocket,
Okay,
but it could have been worse.
it could
I'll
have
put
been
it
more.
that way.
Yeah, yeah. So, I too went through illnesses and divorce all coming down at the same time, along with an employer that says bye bye. But I wasn't terminated because I was protected under the American Disability Act, and they could not fire me. But when I got so sick that I became a liability on the job because I was in cancer treatment. So I was in, chemotherapy treatment and then radiation treatment, getting weaker and weaker and being rushed to the hospital from work a couple of times. Just it got to the point where I had to leave. But I too was like you, and I was married, but the funds were not going and being allocated like they were supposed to because some people had other plans
Right.
to do other things with other people. And in that moment, you do feel this like I need to cry for 30 minutes in a private place because I can't seem to do anything else but that. And I get it. And so, where did you started the plan and said, okay, let me get my physical together because that's the only way I've got to survive in order to get through this. So let me figure out a survival tactic. How long, you said eventually you start seeing that what you were doing worked or started to work. How long did it take you to implement what you did? And when were you able to finally let go of all these medications? And what did your doctors have to say about your alternative medical tactics?
Well, well, to answer your first question, it took about 3 years.
Okay.
It took about at a minimum of 3 years
Okay.
of trying this trial and error. And I just kept doing research. And so when my a lot of my doctors didn't believe in holistic care. They just wanted to keep trying different medicines, and I'm one of those people that I'm allergic to a lot of things. And
Hmm.
so I was having all kinds of allergic reactions and um, interactions with medications and crazy side effects. There was one of them that I was taking, and I I, I was I was taking so many, but there were two that I just stopped taking because I didn't know which one was doing what to
Hmm.
me. And so I just said, well, let me just stop these. And um, because one of them was making my eyes go cross and have double vision at the same time. So I just remember I just remember just kind of freaking out, didn't know what was happening with my vision. And
Hmm.
so yeah, some of them they just didn't they didn't think that that was going to work. But I
Yeah.
said, I'm getting off of these medicines because my life is being dictated by taking medicine and going to the doctor. I was going to the doctor once or twice a week and seeing specialists. And I remember one of my friends had to take me to the one of my appointments, and we were sitting down waiting for the doctor, and she said, Phyllis, how many doctors do you have? And I said, well, it's a lot. And, it's not going to always be like this. And so I was so thankful to finally um, get my get the strategies together. And that's how I created my habit roadmap. And I use that same strategy to help with others with type 2 diabetes and other chronic illnesses.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, I mean, this is so good. We may have to have you come back for a second opportunity to tell us a little bit more. But for right now, guys, I just want to say, advocate, because that's the biggest lesson that I'm getting from Phyllis right now, is that you have to be willing to advocate for your own health, your own life, because you don't need, as an adult, you don't need people dictating to you how you should be, how you should live, what you should take, what you shouldn't do for yourself. Because if you look at the contraindications of the side effects of the medication, like just the one she talked about, double vision and your eyes are crossing and you're already getting older, so the vision is waning. I mean, can you imagine that you think you're going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs right now because you can't see anything? So listen, if hypersensitivity also occurs, if I'm right, Phyllis, when
Yes.
we're taking so many drugs because one is affecting the other, they're not cousins. So they're not in the same family, they're not related, and the blood is just doing some of everything. And it's kind of like Shirley Caesar talking about green beans, tomatoes, ham, peas. You allergic. And so it's just crazy. But we are so thankful to you. I'm sure there are so many that are listening to this, that are watching this on YouTube. Please make sure you subscribe, guys, like, comment for me, because you are speaking such a language. And I asked you a question. I want to put it out there what you said, and I think this is so wonderful. You should do a book. I asked you if you titled this as a master class, what would it be? And you gave me a very beautiful title: Reclaiming Your Power, Thriving Beyond Divorce, Trauma, and Chronic Illness. Oh my gosh, that right there is such a wisdom nugget right there. But I want you to have the last word. And guys, I just want to thank you, my co host, my audience, for being here with us today with Phyllis M. Weaver, the Discover Ultimate Health CEO. And I just want to know, what can you share with us as one good little nugget of wisdom so we can win?
What I would say, you pretty much said it. You have to be your own advocate. You have to recognize when something is not right, and without a doubt that you can do something about it, and don't just wait for someone else. You have to be proactive about your health and do your research and follow your gut, follow your heart, follow your mind.
And I thank you so much for that. Hey guys, you know how we end this show. I love you to life and on purpose. And I'll see you on the other side in the next episode. Let's win. Let's thrive. Take care. Bye for now.